Welcome to the Sri Shakti series at the Coffee Corner Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and our tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Breaking Boundaries in Law and Startups. We have with us Komal Shah, co-founder at Accio ESOPs and Accio Legal, an entrepreneur, legal expert. From navigating the structured world of finance to embracing the dynamic energy of startups, Komal has worn many hats, each adding a unique dimension to her journey. She has built legal solutions that empower founders while keeping business acumen at the heart of every decision. So, today we uncover the story of her unconventional career, her insight into startup law, and the personal philosophies that drive her. So, welcome, Komal, to today's Coffee Conversation episode.
Thank you so much. Thanks to you and also thanks to TEIF and Prime Infotech for having me on this show. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, let me explain you the flow and the format. There are three rounds: professional, personal, and a rapid fire round, for which you have to be witty, fun, and quick. We'll get your gift, niche marketing, which will autograph and
Great.
send to you. So, friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation, legal tech evangelist at Prime Network Solution, and author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal startup SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So, my first question for you, Komal, how has the journey shaped till date?
Uh, it's, I think, a small question, but has a long history and everything back to it. So basically, I would have just been, a doctor or engineer or something like that, which any parents want their kid used to want their kids to be. But I have said this before, and we had a relative in our family, my mama, who was one of the founders of the Ahmedabad chapter of Institute of Company Secretaries of India. And he was the first president of ICSI from Gujarat. And he was someone who actually inspired me to take up a career in corporate law. And that's where I kind of started off. I learned a lot of things from him, being, being a relative. And obviously, then things I looked at corporate law very differently. I looked at it like, how would I be able to do this? When I read study materials in CS or when I read law books, I would be thinking of how am I going to implement this? And I would be thinking of how to apply this law rather than, just learning from a concept perspective or understanding things from a concept perspective, right? So I remember in CS, we had this discussion in corporate law on incorporation of companies and everything, right? And what I did was I actually went on and made up like a dummy company and made up a memorandum and articles and just dreamed of things like that and made it up right at that time. That was in the college. And one of the professors who used to teach us in our CS coaching center, he was very impressed. He would say nobody actually tries their heads and does things like this, right? So like that's how the focus has always been on application. It has not been just getting the concept. That's actually what drew me to Lawsico as well.
Wow, that's interesting journey. Okay. So, Komal, how do you see India's startup ecosystem evolving in terms of legal compliance and founder awareness?
This is a big question. So, what has happened is startups now, when I speak to the founders, there is definitely a little more consciousness about having things in order, right? So, earlier, if you say it's a business, well, all I'm interested in is business development, and that's about it. And compliance, the attitude, some years back, the attitude would be the question of where people will start from will be what is the cost of non-compliance, and I'll start from there. Nahi karunga to kya ho? That's where people will come from. Now this generation, when I speak to founders, they don't come from that angle. They want things proper. They want things aligned. They want things structured. They want things in place. Okay. But obviously there are hitches that they come across in terms of cost, in terms of, energy that they have to, or effort that they have to give in coordinating things and all of that. But definitely the intent or the attitude is that they want things properly in place. It's not like, that it doesn't matter, or compliance doesn't matter, or legal, uh, complying with the law doesn't matter to them, and all they are interested in business development. That's not where they are coming from, thankfully.
So, Komal, ESOPs are often an afterthought for startups. What's the biggest mistake founders make while structuring them?
One of the biggest mistakes that founders make is to sit on it for a very long time. Like, structuring comes very later. What happens is that founders have this idea that I want to do ESOPs some at some point of time, and then they sit on it for years. They will be promising people that I will give you this many ESOPs. They'll hire people. They tell people that, okay, you are hired with this many ESOPs. They will even put it in an offer letter that you will get this many ESOPs. And then they simply sit on it. And then there's no plan that's formulated, no grant letter that's issued, nothing happens. And, slowly the employees start to get a bit dejected that kuch bhi nahi ho raha. Like, I'm not getting anything for this. And when, if particularly if the company is going into an acquisition mode, or the performance of the company is starting to decline, at this point of time, the employees are very, very concerned that, you made me join with this promise, and now you're not given me anything, not given me any paper, you've not done anything for this. That is one big mistake, or huge mistakes that that the founders make. When it comes to structuring, another mistake that I often see is that founders put purely time-based vesting on it. Okay. Now, the problem that can happen is that, there can be various changes in the performance of someone. When someone joins, they can be a star performer. They can be doing everything right. They can be bringing incredible results for the company. And over a period of time, for whatever reasons, their performance can decline. Things can happen and they stop achieving milestones, right? All these kinds of things happen. But your ESOPs are still vesting as it is. There's no change in that when you apply time-based vesting. So this is one another common mistake. So you have to tie up like it with both the things, with the time as well as achievement of milestones.
Wow. So, Komal, what's the most challenging corporate deal or legal case you have ever handled, and what did it teach you?
There is one case where we were dealing with an acquisition. Now, this acquisition was of a company in Australia, and it was by a company based in another country, and the two founders were based in two completely different countries. Okay, this is how that deal was structured. And while things were ongoing, things were progressing, and it was nearing its end, everything was nearing completion and trying to come to an end. One of the founders suddenly disappeared, and then there was no communication. He just left saying that, I can't, I have my own reasons and I can't deal with things anymore and everything. In between, while, the thing was nearing completion. So now the other person is left like in a complete lurch. There were two of them. The other person is left in a complete lurch. He has no idea what to do because there's no response on this. And we had no idea how to progress in this case. So we had to really brainstorm through things and, think about what to do now, because they were supposed to sign a co-founders agreement, but they hadn't done that actually. This is another mistake people often make. They negotiate everything. It's not actually signed. And then things like this happen. And you are in a complete soup because you don't know how to progress in terms of business. Right. So this kind of thing happened with one client. And after that, we learned that, we started offering execution of documents. Yes, because what happens is that there can be laxity which creeps up. Everything is negotiated. That document is done, drafted, completed, sent to everybody, but it's not signed, right? this kind of thing can happen. So we started offering like, to people saying, we help you with execution so that you can have it done and dusted and actually stored, like, and signed. So that's one thing that I learned. Another thing that I learned is like, very easily founders will come with this view that everything is fine. We are in a brilliant relationship. We have very good personal relations. We are best friends. We There is no chance of anything, incorrect or untoward happening between us. Nothing will. And I always tell them that yes, we like we really hope that that's how everything's happened. But things have happened, and things can happen in life for people where everything changes. So it's always better to provide for all those kinds of circumstances. Even though you are the best of the friends, you have fantastic personal relationship, fantastic business relationship right now. Circumstances can change at some point of time. So it's always better to provide and have things documented and signed, right?
Wow. So, Komal, as a leader, what's your approach to building a team that thrives in high stakes legal work?
For me, the approach has always been so. I've 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 hired a lot of people, right, over the years, and especially lawyers. I've hired a lot of lawyers over the years. Uh, what I have found is that if you put people actually from contrary domains into some another domain, if they really want to learn, they are always very, very effective in that. Okay, so let's say I'm hiring someone who's already knowing contract drafting, okay, who has an experience in contract drafting, and I am looking to hire them and train them. There is something at the background where this is what I know, this is how I'm supposed to be. So they have already gone through a certain conditioning, right? And they act with that condition. Whilst if you hire someone from a completely different domain, never done corporate contracts in their life, but now want to shift and badly want to learn. Okay. They are far more effective because like they will be open to, they'll be coachable, they'll be open, they have no conditioning in that domain, which needs to be unlearned. So everything that you give them, they'll grasp with both hands. And I will when I will hire for that fire to learn. If someone has that fire to learn, they will just take up. And once they have joined, I will always check if they are buying work from me. This is something that even my managers have always told me, that we look for candidates who buy work. Okay, are they buying work? Are they taking up? Okay, I will do this also. I do this also. Can I try to do this? Can I look up to do this? Candidates who are doing that, who are buying work, they are your best bet. So I look for people who are like that, who really badly want to learn, who are from a different domain, so they don't have a conditioning attached to them, and also who buy one.
Okay. Komal, my next one. You have built legal solutions that are both founder friendly and business centric. What's your secret to balancing legal risk with commercial practicality?
Yes. So first of all, I have met many founders who feel that when they talk to lawyers, like it's a very different domain. It's a different way of speaking because lawyers come from a very different angle. They will think of, as you rightly said, legal risks that are applicable to a company. Okay. And they will say that this is what I want for my client. They will have 10 things that they want for the client. Okay. But the bottom line is that the client wants a deal to be done. Okay. Client doesn't want crazy kind of legal protection. He is looking from a very business or a commercial perspective at that point of time. So when we are saying that we balance between both of that, we keep in mind that we are not putting excessive legal requirements for our clients in the contract, which when the other party sees, they will just stand up and walk away from the deal to say that ये तो हम ही कर सकते हैं. No, we are not agreeing to that. Many lawyers make this mistake in the zeal to be like overprotective for their clients. We don't do that. We realize that where the other party is also coming from. Okay, and we'll put clauses which protect interest but also don't make the other party run away properly, at least, right?
Wow. So, Komal, you have worked in Ireland also and in India. How do you see corporate law practices differ across borders?
Um, in Ireland, I have worked in many large companies. So most companies that the entities that I worked with were large banks, where like Citibank, like Northern Trust, um, like DEPFA. DEPFA was also over two countries, not as large as Citibank and Northern Trust, but yeah, still big. So, and these were regulated entities. When you are working in that domain, you have to be very careful about the structure of everything. You have to be very careful about things being in place for even the best practices, because everything that you do will at some point be scrutinized by a regulator, right? Um, I worked with another company which was not as big, but the thing was it was spread over 19 countries. Now that also had its own implications where you had to be aware of compliance in all these countries in order to work in that position. But because of these requirements, things had to be very structured. Things had to be very much in place. They would have manuals for a lot of things. They will have processes in place for a lot of things. That's how they will progress, right? So, for example, we had something called a legal entity manual. So it was very clear, at a group level, why do you need to incorporate an entity? What is the logic to have? Because Citibank, the likes of Citibank, these were huge, multiple entities across the globe. So they had to think of, what is the logic of why you want to do this? You had a specific structure you wanted to deal with. These are the governance mechanisms. These are the reporting mechanisms. Everything structured and in place. And that's something that's not very common with the Indian setup of things, right? So we like to work in a very quickly changeable manner. And the thing is with India, I'm working more with startups also. So there's a requirement also in the startup that you have to pivot, you have to change some things, you have to improvise very fast. So if you are functioning in that structured a manner, you won't be able to do that also. But some element of structuring is necessary, which many entities still don't have, right? So
Wow. So, Komal, what's one myth about legal consulting that you would love to debunk?
so for the startups, the one biggest thing is that I don't need it. Okay, one thing is that because I'm too small a business, so I don't have that much legal requirement. I need a couple of contracts. वो मैंने 2-3 templates में से ले लिया, मेरा काम चल गया. I don't need to have legal consulting and understand everything. This is one huge myth that you will find in people. Another huge myth is that it is too expensive. Okay. So for me, startup, like I want to spend every penny that I have in marketing or in business development. I don't have the space to go and pay money to the lawyers. They are very expensive. So let me not do that. This is one feeling that many founders have, which I would love to debunk. And Accio Legal has been debunking these myths from the point it was born. Okay, we are very startup friendly in terms of cost. We are very startup friendly in terms of guiding people. I've had people simply ask me questions on WhatsApp. I don't even know who they are. They ask me questions and I even help them or answer them or guide them based on whatever I know, right.
Wow,
So
that's interesting. So, Komal, with legal tech evolving, do you think AI and automation will disrupt the corporate law landscape?
um it's already doing that. In my belief, it's already doing this to a great extent. Like I have recently seen one of my friends actually showed me some research on a technical topic that he had used Chat GPT Pro to do. And I was stunned, to say the least, to say that, to see that kind of research. It was amazing, right? So if you had to, and a fairly technical topics, it's not something that, commonly available or commonly known. Okay, but they use, I think in Chat GPT Pro there are some tools which you can use, like deep research or something, and it was just unbelievable to the extent of how beautifully it was explained and put in the words, right? So it reduces, like, these kinds of things would have taken days and days on end to achieve that kind of result, which is like done in 3 to 5 hours now. So unbelievable capacity to research. There's no doubt about it.
So, Komal, we're coming to your present journey. What is the turning point that led you to launch Accio ESOPs and Accio Legal, and how has it been?
Right. This is very interesting because I used to head a content team in Law School, right? I was involved with nicely with execution, writing, and everything. I would be writing a lot of stuff, whether it is legal, non-legal, and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed writing even today, but I enjoyed writing. It was like full time. That is what I was doing, and I would be reviewing stuff, writing and reviewing it. That's something I was involved in. Curating course content, all these kinds of things I was doing at that point of time, right? And uh, then I was asked that you need to be heading, or you need to be considering a position where you are looking at a firm where you are looking at actually getting the work for startups and doing that. Now, so initially I was totally lost because I have not been in that kind of role, right? Where you were talking, but uh, I have to say we kind of started this in September 21. We started with working a little bit on Upwork, and then looking at some clients, trying to talking to some people, doing some webinars, all these kinds of things we started with. So initially it was not that easy to actually get clients and everything, right? But the good part of it is that we realized very soon what clients were not getting from the loans, right? Clients were not getting commercially savvy kind of consultations. Clients were not getting fast updates from the lawyers. They had to chase lawyers to get any kind of updates to these kinds of to handle their assignment. They were being given really technical kind of documents which they couldn't understand. Like it will be 5-6 line sentences, and this a founder level person, it's like, let's say, understand, it's a tech founder. Okay, the guy has worked in tech and all these domains. He's totally lost. Like one of my clients even said this, can you translate this in human for me? you know so using legalese and all of this, these is the kind of things that people were getting, and we threw all of these things out, right? We totally work with a commercial bent of mind. We totally make things simple and explainable to both the parties. We don't use a lot of legalese. We keep language simple and easy to understand by both parties when they are coming towards a contract or towards a deal. And we also provide very fast updates on things. Like, we don't wait for clients to come and chase us multiple number of times for things, right? So that is what helped us, really grow. And the good part of this is that these inputs are something which law SECO takes, right? So we are also able to generate or create industry relevant students because of this. Because we gather the problems of the industry, so we know what we need to teach, right?
Yeah. So, Komal, how is legal professionals taken to legal content for work showcase and personal branding?
Um, I think a lot of lawyers know now that they need to write, otherwise, they can very, very easily be out of sight and out of mind of people. But still there isn't a structured approach to it, right? So people will think that, okay, I need to write, but there's no idea. I need to speak at some forums. I need to be at networking forums. I need to talk to people. But they don't have a very structured idea of what really they need to do. We actually have a team called Accio Content who helps with this, but which Priyanka is leading, by the way. So, uh, but people are generally not aware of how they need to structure it, how they need to structure their legal content, how they need to structure or work on their personal branding step by step. What is it they need to get across, rather than just like knowledge sharing kind of mechanisms, which a client may not read and another lawyer will read actually, right? So, so that's the point of it. People know how to share legal, but they don't have that structure in place.
So my last question for your professional journey around Komal, how has technology helped you with content development process and other work?
How is technology helping me? Like I said, massively in research. Uh, it helps to bring the research time to a very low element compared to what you would have without the kind of technology. And obviously technology is the most relevant for us because we are a 100% remote organization. We i there are very few of my teammates that I've personally met. Not that I'm very happy to state that, but I'm very happy to state that despite not having met, we are pretty close to each other, and we are working with as much zeal as any team who's working offline would. So, well, that's the power of technology. You can have people sitting in the remotest of areas, uh, join teams and work in teams and work with as much zeal. Right?
Wow. So let's go next round, Komal, and understand you as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
My family, small family, like my parents and I have a younger brother. They are all in Gujarat, and formative years were in Gujarat. The schooling was in one of the best schools. College was also in commerce in one of the best colleges in Ahmedabad that is available. I was brought up like a princess. I would have to say that, right? So, you get cars to drive in at a young age and everything. So I was brought up like a princess. I've not had any kind of a story where, where you had less means in terms of finance and everything. But yeah, there were some formative, there were struggles when I was looking to break through the barriers of typically what a Gujarati female would appear to for the people. Like, they would think of Gujarati females as very docile, very, not very ambitious in terms of career, more towards, bent towards, having being a housewife, taking care of everyone. That's the kind of scene that was at that point of time in my early years. And I was not in that category at all. So I did face resistance on that front, like I did face uh, my friends would kind of say that look completely different also. You don't look like a Gujarati female at all. But yeah, well, that's what it was.
Wow.
So that's situation. Right?
So, Komal, how do you unwind after a hectic corporate legal consulting work?
Sleep. Sleep is a rarity for me because I have clients in India and I have clients in Singapore and Australia who start much earlier than us, and I have clients in the US who start much later than us. So like I have to manage calls in the time zones which are crazy, right? So sleep is something of a luxury for me. So whenever I get time, I would like I try like to catch sleep in the best way possible. I like to hit the sack. I would like to hit bed early, a little bit earlier, and maybe read something uh, while sleeping.
Wow. So, what's a fun fact about you that most people don't know about?
Fun fact about me, I don't know. I'm generally a fun person overall, so it's not a secret which people don't know. Even on team calls, I'm known to be sometimes really humorous or crack jokes at people, right? So usually, I'm a fun person to be with. What people don't know. Uh, so there are a lot of things. Obviously, my personal life is something that I have kept very closely guarded and discreet, and definitely those are the things that people don't know about that. Don't know about me. You know. Many people
Oh,
still don't know that my my daughter uh, is amazing at guitars. You can see at the back, amazing at that,
okay.
and singing and everything. So a lot of people don't know this still. Yeah, but because I keep my family life a little bit private, and I am not interested in sharing everything that happens in my home publicly. Right?
That's fine. So, what's one hobby or passion project you have always wanted to explore but never had the time?
I would really like to write a book on blockchain, crypto, tokenization, these domains. Really would love to research and write a book on this. And I haven't gotten to this. If I had the time, this is what I would get.
Wow. So, what's a piece of advice from your parents that has stuck with you throughout your career?
My parents, more than giving advice, like they their behavior used to influence me a lot. How they
Hmm.
worked, that has influenced me a lot. My father had, a business of his own. He still has now that not that active with it, but he had a very good business of his own. And at one point of time, he was on this zone that uh, whatever you do, when you are running this kind of thing, and you are responsible for employment of people, you are responsible to your customers, you are responsible to your collaborators. What you end up doing is you end up eating business, sleeping business, drinking business. Here's that. And some part of that has gotten into me. Have me thinking business at the back of my mind at a lot of different times. So that has happened. One advice which he gave me and which was very critical, and I remember this uh, very vividly, is that we were sitting in his office, and there was something that I blurted out, which I shouldn't have in front of the people who were sitting there at that point of time. And then after they left, he was like, look, you have to be alert all the time. You have to keep your eyes. You have to evaluate the situation. You have to think of who is sitting here, and
Yeah.
then you have to react. You cannot be reactive without taking an assessment of the situation. This is something that has stuck me for a very long.
Beautiful one. Beautiful one. So, Komal, what's your idea of a perfect weekend when you're not strategizing legal solutions?
Like I said, I would love to spend a lot of time in the bed if I could. I would like to sleep. I would like to spend time reading. I would obviously like to spend time with my daughter. Uh, More time with my daughter, like going out with her, talking to her, maybe letting her play some music to me and listening and all of that. So that is something that that I would love to do. It's not easy to get weekends in my position. Not easy to get weekends where okay, drop everything and chill out kind of weekends are very rare for me. It becomes very difficult. But yeah, this is what I would love to do.
So, Komal, who has influenced you or motivated you personally and professionally, and what were the key learnings?
A lot of people have influenced me, if I have to say that, because a lot of people who I meet has something or the other which is which is really worth learning from them, right?
Yeah.
So obviously my parents, and I learned a lot of multiplexing from my mother. She could do like 10 things at one time and without dropping a ball. And, so multiplexing is something that I learned from her. She influenced me a lot in that regard. She also used to work in a bank, and she could balance personal and professional life amazingly, right? And that is something that I have seen. My brother, one awesome thing that I have to say about him is that he would help if we were required to help someone in the family, whether it is a close family or even relatives. He also runs a business, and he has maybe thousand worries about different things ongoing at a time. But he will drop everything and he will first reach out and help the person, and
Mhm.
then he will get back to his work. Awesome.
Wow.
I'm like, I would really love to do that. I'm not able to do that at all the time, but he does it. And that's awesome about it. Uh, my husband, if I had to describe in one sentence, it is God is in detail, right? The extent of detail that he goes into for everything. Like, you give something to him, uh, you can trust that he will look at every nook and corner before he comes to a conclusion and does something and acts on it, right? So being like really detail oriented is something that I learned from him. Obviously, Ramanuj and Abhyuday both were the people, the main promoters of Lawsico. I've learned a lot from them, right? They're both very different, by the way, right? Uh, Abhyuday is in a very knowledgeable zone. Like, you will find n number of things. He will say something out of the blue, and you don't even know, what that is. But he will have read it, and he will have known, and he will have researched things out and checked things out. Ramanuj, on the other hand, is incredibly business savvy. He has the nerve of the market, so to speak. So, that is something that I've learned from Ramanuj. Priyanka, something that I'm trying to adopt from her is, real kindness. She is really interested in other people's growth, right? And that's not a very common trait to have. And that's something that I really appreciate in her, right?
Hmm.
So, lot
That's
influenced by a
interesting.
lot of people.
So, what are your goals for 2025 personally and professionally?
Wow, that's huge. So, personally, my goals are definitely, grabbing learning in different domains with both my hands. Things like taxation, like crypto, blockchain, tokenization, these domains. Really into it and really want to learn. Uh, Also, goals of setting a really good team from the outreach perspective. So uh, building teams for Accio Legal, mentoring people to be leaders in delivery excellence. That is also something that I look forward to for 2025. Professionally for me, personally, like I said, I would like to be in the learning domain. Personally, I also want to add up certain habits which I'm gradually trying to add to myself, like a habit to just go out and walk for a certain period, trying to switch off, trying to walk, trying to get rid of screen time, reduce screen time after a certain period of time, especially in the night. It's very difficult because I do have clients. I have to get on late night calls. But totally switching off mobiles and something is what I'm looking to. So the goal is to basically reduce screen time and have maybe more sun time possible.
Wow. So, what does Sri Shakti mean to you, Komal?
Uh, I think that Stree already has the Shakti inside of her. Most of the times they don't know what they are capable of. They limit themselves. They feel that I can't do this, or I'm not capable of doing this, or ये मुझसे नहीं होगा. They feel that. The minute you start dropping that limitations and feeling that I can do this also, this also, this also, and this also, and there's no limit, you can actually feel that power, and you can actually start bringing those elements into your life. You can be fit without having to sacrifice your professional goals. Like I would feel initially that I would not be capable to dedicate a specific time for fitness. But I've been doing that since 3 years now, and it has not affected or compromised anything in my professional life. Okay. So, so if you start dropping that limiting feelings from my mind that if I do this, then I can't do that. Start dropping that, and you start thinking of how you can accommodate or bring things into it. There's no limit to where you can go. So most of the times, threes, as I've seen, and these I've observed like multiple number of times, even the applications I get, the discussions that I have, women limit themselves. They feel that they are capable of getting only this much or drawing only this much, and they believe that they can't do certain things. But the minute you start dropping that, you can achieve endless things.
Wow. My last one, which is a googly one. Describe Komal in one line.
Okay. Okay. So Komal is a seasoned lawyer. At the heart of it, just a happy, helpful soul. That's all.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's go to the next round and have some fun, the rapid fire round. Books or
Right.
podcast?
Sorry?
Books or podcast?
Books.
Your go-to comfort food?
Khichdi, masala khichdi.
Wow. Your favorite color?
Blue.
Would you rather draft contracts or negotiate deals?
Negotiate deals. Very powerful.
One word to describe entrepreneurship.
Breaking boundaries. Well, 2 words, but breaking boundaries.
Wow. Your favorite color?
Blue. I said that, I think.
Wow. Okay. Favorite Gujarati dish?
This is a not very commonly known. It's known as kundiyu, which is like a melange of vegetables. Loads of vegetables inside. So yeah, that.
Your dream travel place?
Austria. Lovely.
Tea or coffee to
Tea.
charge you?
Slowly changing to coffee now, but tea. Super.
Okay. You're a coffee. So you did well, and here's your gift, which will be autographed by me and sent to you.
Thank you.
So friends, it was a lovely conversation having with Komal, discovering a journey, wearing multiple hats, being a corporate lawyer, startup, helping startup founders, then into content, so many things. Yes, legal professionals can venture into multiple things. This is what men and women both can handle multiple things during the journey. And this is what our coffee speakers inspires with their professional expertise, their personal journey. And watch this episode. Subscribe to Coffee Conversation. There are 350 plus coffee speakers sharing their insights, expertise, their hobbies, so many things which will inspire you. And these are what memories and coffee speakers are change makers. So if you want to be invited, like how Komal was invited through a founder, mentor, Ramanuj, but there are other ways to be invited. You visit our LinkedIn company page, the Emerging India Forum, or a website, the Emerging India Forum DM, fill in the form. Our team would invite you to have coffee conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.